In this video, we're going to talk about 8 things that you need to know as a first-time home buyer in today's market. Let's get started. So we're going to count down these 8 things that I see problems first-time home buyers having in today's market. And it's not just first-time home buyers for some of these things. It may be somebody that hadn't bought in a while and is just unaware of the market we're in at this time, or they've just got some bad advice. So let's start at number 8. So the number 8 problem I'm seeing is first-time home buyers come out and they go get pre-qualified like they should, but they don't take into account what the monthly is going to be. And we get into it and they've put money down and maybe even done inspections, and then the lender calls them up and starts giving them estimates of closing cost and here's your monthly, and they're like, well, I can't pay that per month. That's more than I expected. And sometimes you shouldn't spend everything you're qualified for because they don't take into account some of these bills that you might have that they don't know about. I would suggest everybody go out and get pre-qualified straight out of the gate and then ask the lender, what's that going to be monthly? Now don't forget to factor in your taxes and insurance into your monthly payment because typically that's escrowed in, and that can throw it off by quite a bit when somebody starts figuring up all this stuff. Then they get to the closing table and they figure out, oh, it's more than what I first thought. I know some lenders that in the past they've just said, what do you want to pay per month? And someone tells them $600 a month. They tell them, well, then this is the house. This is the cost of the house that you can afford. Number 7, what I'm seeing right now with people trying to really get in a house because it's a struggling market for buyers, that sometimes they'll settle for a house. Yeah, this one's fine for now. Let's just get this one. We'll get under contract. We'll get us a house. We'll be fine. But they don't think about the resale value. You always need to be thinking of the future. Yeah, you might get in the house now, but what happens when you're not happy for next year or 5 years from now, and you've still got that weird bedroom that comes off the entrance, and that's the reason the house was on the market so long to begin with, was because it's a weird layout, or the lot is weird, or just some odd things. And I try to advise buyers, like, well, think about this in the future. If you go to sell this, yeah, you can change the paint color, or you can change around the kitchen and some things, but you're not going to move a whole bedroom or move the whole house and make it sit differently on a lot or a different piece of land. So you need to think about these in the future for your resale value. All right, number 6. So I've heard this a lot from young buyers, even older buyers that haven't done it in a long time, is, they go get the home inspection and there's a list of 50 pages of things, which there normally is, whether it's a good house or not. And they have been told by their aunt, their uncle, their mom, their dad that, well, you just get the inspection and they have to fix those things. The seller doesn't have to fix anything. So make sure you heard me right. They don't have to do anything. Especially in today's market where there's so many buyers and such a pool for the sellers to pull from. If you're being difficult about some repairs or minor repairs, they'll tell you where you can go real quick and they'll just go find a different buyer. I always try to advise my buyers, like, every house, even new, is going to have issues. So let's concentrate on the issues that are on the inspection report that's going to affect you now. That's going to cause further deterioration of the house, or might be an issue with lending or insurance. The big major issues is what you want to focus on. And I've had buyers that were just adamant about having everything fixed. And that's just not going to happen. Think about it yourself. Would you do it if you had a house that you've been living in for 30 years and you felt in your mind, it's fine, I've been here for 30 years. Why would I go and fix this stuff now? So as a first-time home buyer, I tell people, typically you're looking in a lower range. I've advised people to look at the homes with the seafoam green bathrooms or the pink bathrooms and need the updated kitchens, because typically you can get them a little bit cheaper because people don't want to put in what's called sweat equity. Basically, you put in the work to fix up your own house. It can save you thousands of dollars in the end. You get in there, you make it how you want it, but you still obviously have to have the ability or the money to be able to fix it up over time. Now, let's face it, you're no Chip and Joanna Gaines. So when you start talking about taking out walls and all this other stuff, just no. You can do it, but it's going to be very expensive, especially since it's not really something a first-time home buyer should probably be trying to tackle. But I've seen some do it. You got to put in beams, and you need an engineer to tell you if this is a load-bearing wall or not a load-bearing wall. Just stick with the basic updates for now. All right, number 4, and a good reason every first-time home buyer, or any buyer in general right now, is trying to get on and get them a house, because interest rates are at the bottom. I mean, they're low. I've had a couple people that's closed on houses in the 2.5 interest rate range. I mean, if it gets below that, I'm going to be shocked. I've heard they've started to go up just a hair. We just aren't going to know till in the future how quick they're going to go up, how far they're going to go up. I don't see them getting farther down below than where they are right now. And they can get more home for less monthly payment because of that interest rate. All right, number 3. I know everybody loves their grandma, grandpa, or mom and dad, but they cannot just give you money for a down payment. Before you start the whole process, do not be moving money around. They want to know where every dime comes from. Now, they can give you down payment assistance, but it has to be done in a specific way. Don't just take a handful of cash for Nana and expect it to work when you go to buy a house. It has to be done in a way, it's called a gift letter. And your lender will be able to assist you with this stuff. And I just had one closed today, actually, that same thing. They used a gift letter from mom to help with the down payment. But when the bank starts seeing large deposits of money coming in from an unknown source, it throws up red flags. So make sure you do it in the right way. If you got any questions, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you walk you through this. Number 2, do not go out and get your Rooms to Go or Lowe's credit card or Home Depot or all this other stuff after or even before you close on a house. These are new lines of credit. They're looked at differently than existing credit. It's also going to increase your credit that you have, so it's going to affect your credit score and therefore ultimately your interest rate, or even if you still qualify for a loan. Do not go out and buy a car, anything with your credit. Don't do anything with it until you've closed. Once you close, you can do whatever you want. But right now, before in the process of looking, and especially when you're under contract, don't do anything with credit. Don't add things to an existing credit card because that increases your debt ratio. I've seen people get to day of closing and they figure out, oh wait, they don't qualify anymore because they just went and got a whole bedroom suite from Rooms to Go. So don't make that mistake. All right, and the number one thing I'm seeing right now, and the biggest issue with especially first-time home buyers, is yes, you can ask for closing costs. They don't have to give it to you. But, a lot of times, if you give them a decent offer, sellers are willing to chip in half your closing cost, or at least a few $1,000s to help assist you through the process. Now, the problem we're seeing is with home prices being kind of at the upper end right now of what they appraise for, when you try to make an offer with that closing cost put in, say it's a $150,000 house, you want $5,000 in closing costs, so you jack up your offer to $155,000. The problem is it still has to appraise for $155,000. Well, that becomes an issue sometimes when you're listed at the very top and it comes back at $152,000. You have to make up the difference or you don't get the house. And obviously a lot of first-time homebuyers don't just have a few $1,000s laying around to make up the difference and then other things they have to pay for, inspections or whatever, sitting in a bank somewhere that they can pile on top. So I've had some first-time homebuyers, they lose out on several houses in a row because they need the closing cost, but all the houses we're looking at is just they're priced to the top of the range, and you just don't have that wiggle room to factor in your closing cost into that. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was helpful, and if I can ever be of any assistance to you, please reach out, and I look forward to hearing from you.